in here, nor any flash photography, please. Here we have Xavier head coach Chris Mack, along with student athletes Trayvon Blewett, JP McCura. We'll turn it over to Coach for a quick opening statement, and then we'll open it up to questions.
Well, I give a lot of credit to Gonzaga. They were the better team. You know, they played like it tonight. You know, I don't think we played our best, but you know, I know that had we played our best, it still would have been a tough out. They're really, really good. They're big. They play discipline on defense. You know, I thought in the first half them going to zone bothered us, and you know, it was sort of a back and forth game until they went to zone, and I didn't do a good enough job in getting the looks that we needed as a team and play with a little bit more collective poise, and they stretched it to about 8. And then in the second half, we couldn't score at all. You know, we scored a little bit more in the first half, obviously, but second half we just couldn't score. And team that's 290th in the country, relying on three-point shots, goes 12 for 24, 50% from the three-point line, and you're not going to win against many teams with their size when they're shooting it that well. So our guys have nothing to hang their head about. They're obviously down. They're competitors. I thank them for their continued belief throughout the year. It's always tough when it ends.
Okay. Questions? Give us hands. We'll go on the left, fifth row back.
Trayvon, what was it about their defense that was so difficult for you guys?
They were just, you know, locked in. You know, they're a disciplined defensive type of team. That's why they're number one when it comes to defensive stats. We just didn't execute, you know, well enough. I think, you know, hand in hand is just us not executing well and them just being a good defensive team they are. I mean, they're big, they're long, so it makes it tough to score on the inside. And, you know, when we don't get a lot of shots to fall from the outside, it's kind of tough to beat them.
Stay right there, fourth row.
Yeah, Chris, Jeff Ferrato, Bay Area News Group. You guys have done such a good job defending the three recently. How did they get so many open looks? What created that for them?
Their ability to pass the ball is special. I mean, that ball just gets pinged around. And so many teams that we've played, the majority of teams that we play, you know, hold it a little bit longer. You know, they may have one or two guys that aren't the passers that these kids are in Gonzaga uniforms. I mean, you know, Karnowski, I mean, his ability to pass at the 5 position, like I talked about, was a little bit like Stainbrook coming in, but there are other guys past it. And, you know, here's the thing. A couple of their guys shot a lot better percentage from 3 than they're accustomed to. And I don't feel like we gave them a ton of open looks. Certainly there were a few, but especially early in the second half, I thought a couple of those threes were highly contested ones and really backbreakers. It went from 10 to 15 really, really quick, and we were just fighting uphill ever since.
Stay right there, third row left.
Coach, on that, elaborate on that a little bit, I guess. Sorry, Jim Wozarski, Cincinnati Enquirer. To come out of the half down 10, and in that 2.5 minutes to open, it was 2 threes that they hit. Karnowski had a baby hook, and I believe there was a putback offense. And that's you go from 10 to 17 right in those 2 minutes, and it seemed that kind of encapsulated all they were able to do offensively and then even defensively to get the ball back to their way. How important was that swing, and does that really kind of show what they were able to do tonight, I guess? Well,
I mean, you know, they're really good. You know, sometimes you lose to a better team. You know, they've proven it all year long. You know, they've lost one game. They play an incredible schedule, and their record's their record for a reason. And you know, our guys weren't down in the locker room at half. I thought we were ready to go. I thought a couple of those threes were contested looks. And you get down 17 points, you know, against a really good team that doesn't let up and that continues to play hard on both ends of the floor and has the size they do. It's tough to get back in it. You know, we shot some threes at the very end, but at one point we hadn't taken that many. And the reason we hadn't taken that many is because when you drive the ball in, they just keep their 7-footer in there, and they don't help off. Their size stays on the perimeter with their matchups. That's where their discipline comes in. And so we couldn't necessarily generate the type of open threes that we've had up until this point. And that's why they're really good. And that's why they're the number one defensive team in the country and tough team to beat.
They're right there, fifth row.
JP, the shot at the end of the half, did you think it had gotten off in time and it was deflating at all when that gets wiped off?
I mean, I thought it was off in time, but it wasn't. But it didn't really bother me. We were still down 10 or 7 points regardless, and we still needed to come out the next half and execute. And the second half, they played better than we did, and that's a big reason why we lost.
Back there.
Trey and JP, if you could speak a little bit about that length and their defense on the perimeter, and just the difficulties that presented for you two specifically, I guess, in trying to get some offense in the second half.
Like I said previous, they're long, so it makes it tough to score on the inside. And when you have to play from the outside, one of our main focuses is playing inside out. And so when we can't really get anything on the inside, it kind of makes it tough to, create any type of offense. And, other than that, it was just more of just execution on our part.
Yeah, I would say execution on our part as well. When they went to zone, we didn't get the ball to the high post that much, and that affected us. And I would just say that they're big guys down low. It's tough. It's tough to score against 7-footers, but we just need to execute a little bit better on the offensive end.
Standing by the speaker, back left.
Chris, could you specifically address Jonathan Williams and the impact he has on a game?
Yeah, I mean, he did a lot around the rim. His damage today, for the most part, was 3 feet and in. Offensive rebounds, post-ups, tip-ins, finishing at the bottom of the zone against our zone. He hit a 3, but, for us, that was something we wanted to live with. He goes 2 for 8 from the free throw line, so generally when a guy's not a great free throw shooter, doesn't make his free throws, he's usually not a great three-point shooter, and we wanted him to stay away from the basket. But, unfortunately for us, did a great job. He goes left and he gets to the rim, and he's athletic, he's long, he's a talented player. Yeah, I mean, it's like these guys, like we keep saying, their length, it bothered us a little bit. And, when you have a quick turnaround, maybe I didn't get a good enough game plan to our guys, but that's the life of the tournament when you have a day and a half to prepare. He's really good. Their size in total affected us.
Second row, left.
Hi, Chris. You guys have talked a lot about how their defense bothered you. Why were they able to do on offense against your zone what the other guys were not, Arizona, Florida State, Maryland?
Gonzaga has a great plan, And number one, no team that we've played our zone has had a passer like Karnowski. A lot of the big guys are guys that drop passes, can't find different options. I said it before we played him, he's like Stainbrook. He knows where everybody on his team is. And while he catches the ball in the mid post or high post in the zone, he's such a huge target. So if you front him in the zone, they're going to lob it over for a layup. If you play behind him, then he's going to catch it. And when he catches it, he's just going to turn and survey very patiently because he doesn't have to worry about anybody affecting his ball. He's going to find out who's open. And our backside forward is in a war with Jonathan Williams or, some of the other bigs they have in the game. And, they're trying, but he can just sort of lob it up. And if you suck in with an extra defender, he sprays it out and they get open threes. So he's the reason.
On the far right.
Jay Alter with the Big East Digital Network. Coach, I know it's difficult, especially after a loss, but could you try and reflect on the group of guys you have and the run you've been on?
Yeah, I mean, I'm proud of them. 2017, social media and everybody having an opinion can really beat guys down. And their refusal to get beat down and continue to believe in me, our coaching staff, and most importantly, one another, allowed us to get to this point, which stinks, but as I told those guys, only 4 guys are moving on from this game. 4 teams around the country are moving on. And, you know, it was 3 weeks ago that we were at DePaul, you know, 8-9 in the conference. We needed to win that game. Weight of the world on our guys' shoulders. They don't know this, but there's a coach's locker room and a player's locker room at All-State Arena. And after we won the game, usually the players go in their locker room and we go in ours as coaches. And I closed the door, and our coaching staff was in there, and I started jumping up and down on the couch and saying, "We won, we won, we won." And to think that our team, which everybody had us dead to right, was able to continue to believe, make the tournament, and get to the point where we were playing for a Final Four, I'm extremely proud of this group.
Okay, we do one more against the curtain left.
Chris, I realize you're preoccupied with your team, but can you sort of appreciate the significance of this for Mark Few and that program, given how good they've been for so long and yet not able to make this last step?
Yeah, I mean, it's a doozy now. Don't act like it comes around all the time. I mean, for, you know, I know I joked around about it the other day, but for Coach Few to have to even answer a question about a monkey on his back, I mean, like, I mean, he's at a small Jesuit school in a league that gets 1 or 2 teams in the NCAA tournament every year. That's why it took so long in the handshake line to talk to him, because he's a friend of mine. And as hard as this is, I was on the other end of it on Thursday when I talked to Sean. I am happy for him. He's a great person, great dad, great family man, and he's got a hell of a team.
Okay, thank you. That'll conclude Xavier.